because our perception is always involving what in India we call magical lies. Magical because they are magical in that they ensure the survival of the biological organism, but lies because they hide the truth. There's an Indian word for it, Maya, okay? Illusion. So how do we perceive? We assume that we know. I mean, like now, you're looking at me. What's bouncing off me is photons. Photons are invisible. They have no dimensionality. They're moving at the speed of light, photons. They hit your retina, where there's an electrochemical activity, and then they go to your brain, through the optic nerve, and suddenly some little thing happens in the brain, electrochemically, as we were just told. And voila, a whole universe appears. That's the hard problem of consciousness. All that's happening in your brain right now is electrochemistry. You don't experience electrochemistry, you experience this world with colors and shapes and sounds and textures and smells. Where is that happening? Of course, if you talk to traditional neuroscience, they'll say, here, there's no experience in the brain. Notwithstanding the beautiful neural correlates you showed, sir. They're beautiful anatomical neural correlates of experience. And if you interfere with them, then experience is altered. But how do we actually get the experience? And where is the experience happening? I submit to you that the experience is not happening in the brain. In fact, the brain has no experience. You can put a knife through the brain. It doesn't even feel itself, right? When people have headaches, etc., it's not because of the brain. It's about the meninges and the vascular structure. And the brain, by the way, is silent in terms of sound. There's no sound in the brain. There's no sensation in the brain. We know that. There's no color in the brain, no texture in the brain, no smell in the brain. So where is the experience happening? So this is where science is stuck right now. And I will share with you a few slides, if I may, and I'll have to rush through them. Or maybe I won't rush through them, I'll just skip a few because you get the point anyway. Here's a slide that I want to share with you, a couple of slides. These are recent issues of the New Scientist. If you look at them, what is reality? Is your body thinking? I would say your body is thinking, but that's another story. It doesn't think in English with an Indian accent, but it does think. And maybe it's more than that. Is the universe conscious? Look at this, please look at this slide. Is the universe conscious? What is the flaw at the heart of reality? Is evolution what Darwin spoke about as random mutations and natural selection, or is even evolution guided by something else? And what is that something else? So I'm going to briefly skip over these slides. These are my 7 pillars of well-being, which I formulated because only 5% of disease-related gene mutations are fully penetrant, which means they guarantee disease. If somebody has a BRCA gene, they're going to get breast cancer. But that's true of every genetic mutation. Less than 5% guarantee disease. The rest can be influenced epigenetically and through neuroplasticity. So I'm going to skip about this, but there's a lot of very fascinating research on movement, yoga, stress management, vagal stimulation, overriding sympathetic overdrive, the role of emotions, nutrition, biological rhythms. But then I'm coming to where I have focused my awareness in the last decade or more, which is self-awareness. Because we're the only species who know that we know. And so what is that? So I submit to you something called the direct method and the construction of everyday reality. Direct experience in awareness or consciousness is only SIFT, S-I-F-T, the acronym for sensations, sense perceptions, images, feelings, and thoughts. But when we give meaning and narrative to direct experience and interpretation of past experience, we generate perceptions. Direct visual experience is color, shape, and form. If a baby was looking at my hand, it wouldn't know it is a hand. It would see a shape, a color, and form. In fact, the only difference between any object and another object visually is color, shape, and form. But when we give meaning to that and we filter the experience through what is called narrative, then we create a perception. And once we create a perception, then depending on whether we are comfortable with the perception or not, we create emotions and feelings and thoughts. And that's true of all perception. All perception is a learned phenomenon. Go back to the kittens, is a learned phenomenon. And giving meaning to sensations and creating perceptions results in the generation of emotions and thoughts. And the storyline created by emotions and thoughts is the creation of what is called everyday reality that we call the mind, the body, and the world. So the mind and body and the world are human constructs. That includes everything, from the Milky Way galaxy to an object such as a table, to your own physical body, to the idea that we have a brain. And illusions are mistaken for reality until we understand the trick behind the illusion. Illusions are mistaken for reality also because we are ourselves embedded as body, mind, and brain in the illusion. The body, mind, and brain are part of the illusion. And we're going to have a conference later this afternoon. I think it's 3 to 5, with 3 other scientists, a physicist, a mathematician, a biologist, and an endocrinologist. Other than myself, I'll be the second endocrinologist. Once we see the trick behind the web of magical lies and illusions, we are free to create the reality we want, personal, collective. And we can now consciously create the reality to find freedom from suffering, freedom from the fear of death, knowing ourselves as timeless beings, and emerging with higher values, not out of moral compulsion, but because they come spontaneously when we discover the truth behind the magical lies. And these platonic values include truth, beauty, love, compassion, joy, bliss, insight, and creativity. Okay, I'm going to skip this. Quantum entanglement, everyone knows. Qualia entanglement is probably a new word for you. Qualia means unit of experience. Just like a quantum is a unit of measurement, quanta are described as the smallest indivisible units of information and energy, according to the uncertainty principle. And qualia is similarly quality of experience. So the taste of red wine, or the smell of garlic, or an emotion, or a thought are considered qualia. And these are entangled with meaning and ultimately result in what we call the metabolism of experience. Just like I explained visual experience, this is also true of auditory experience, tactile experience, taste and smell. All learned phenomena. Taste is an acquired thing. I like coffee, you like tea. I'm a vegetarian, you like meat. Acquired, constructed experiences. So physical reality, including the physical body, is a construct in human awareness using a narrow bandwidth of fluctuations in consciousness.